My father was very principled. One night, he was pastoring a church in Carver's Ranch. They call it West Park now. Okay. And one night, he was coming home from church, and he was stopped by the police. Mm-hmm. And so they said that he was driving with bright lights.
Oh, like his high beams.
Like, yeah, so they ordered him out of the car. Mm-hmm. And, well, he had been, to citizenship school to become a citizen. So he had studied the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And so when the cop ordered him out of the car, he got in the car, he had his hat on. Yeah. So the cop said, take your hat off. So he asked the policeman, he said, well, what law am I violating by keeping my hat on? And the policeman was incensed that he would question him. Mm-hmm. You just do what I tell you to do. You don't question me, Mm-hmm. That was his attitude. Yeah. So the police slapped him, knocked his hat off. Oh. And we were on State Road 9.
Oh, so you were in the car too?
I was in the car. My brother was in the car. My mother was in the car. Okay. We were all in the car. So my father stooped down and picked his hat up and put his hat back on his head. And so the police was really incensed then. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, we're going to have to take you to jail. So my father said, fine. He said, I know I'm allowed to make one telephone call. He said, and I'm going to call my boss, Mr. Albert Pick. Then the police went to my mother and tried to get my mother to calm my father down. And so my father told the police, now this is in the 40s, we're talking about the 40s. My father told the police, said, don't speak to her. She has nothing to do with this. You deal with me. So he said, well, you give us no other alternative because you're insubordinate. So they put him in the police car and they took him away and they left us on State Road 9. They didn't care how we got home or whether we got home or not. So my brother said that he was going to drive the car home. So my mother said, no, you're not because you don't have any license. Mm-hmm.
Did your mother drive?
No, my mother couldn't drive. Okay. And I couldn't drive. Yeah. So we just sitting out there in the dark. It was dark, pitch black.
And how did you feel? Were you crying or worried or?
Well, we were worried because we didn't know how we were going to get home. Yeah. So we were stuck. So then we looked and we saw a police car coming toward us. Mm-hmm. So my mother said, see, they're sending some police car to see about us, So when we looked, we noticed it was the same two policemen that took him away, and my father sitting in the back seat. Mm-hmm. So they asked him if they gave him a chance, would he learn how to respect an officer? So he said, if an officer slaps me and knocks my hat off, I'm doing the same thing. And my mother thought she would die. Because all she wanted him to do was say whatever they wanted him to say and get out of there. Mm-hmm. But he refused. Mm-hmm. He refused to do what they wanted him to do. Mm-hmm. But when they found out who he worked for, mm-hmm. because, Mr. Pick liked him, he was honest, mm-hmm. so he refused to do what they wanted him to do. But they still let him go. Mm-hmm. They let him go, and then he got in the car and drove home. That's how he got home.